Have you ever witnessed a game so intense that every shot feels like it could change the course of history? This wasn't just a match, it was a clash of legends, a moment where the past met the future on the green felt of a pool table. It was in Las Vegas 2018 where Efren Reyes, the legendary magician of pool, faced off against the formidable Vivian Villar. What took place was not just a game, but a masterclass in skill, strategy, and the pure will to win.
Efren attempted a bank shot on the one ball but missed.
The crowd's energy was electric, almost tangible. You could feel the tension building as everyone settled into their seats, eyes locked on the green felt table at the center of the room. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation, the kind that makes your heart race just a bit faster. Why was everyone on edge? It was because this was more than just a match between two greats. It was a moment that would be etched into the annals of pool history. On one side, we had Efren Reyes, the name that resonates with pool enthusiasts worldwide. Known as the Magician, Reyes had spent decades carving out a legacy that was unparalleled. His ability to pull off impossible shots, his calm under pressure, and his unmatched strategic mind had earned him a reputation as one of the greatest players the world had ever seen. At 64 years old, most players would have seen their skills decline, but not Efren. He was as sharp as ever, a true testament to his dedication and love for the game. Facing him was Vivian Villar, a player who had her own impressive legacy. Formerly the world's #1 female player, Vivian was no stranger to high-stakes matches. She had earned her title through hard work, determination, and an undeniable talent for the game. But this match wasn't just about titles or rankings. It was about proving oneself against one of the most feared opponents in the history of pool. Vivian knew she was stepping into the ring with a giant, and the weight of that knowledge hung in the air like a cloud. Every shot, every moment was loaded with meaning. The opening moments saw a few lucky breaks, the kind that can set the tone for the rest of the game. You know those moments, right? When you get just the right angle or the ball rolls perfectly into place. But luck can only take you so far. And both players knew that strategy was going to be the real game changer here. Efren Reyes stepped up to the table with the confidence of someone who has been here countless times before. But this wasn't just any match, and his opponent wasn't just any challenger. Vivian Villar was a formidable force in her own right, and she wasn't going to go down without a fight. The tension was almost too much to bear, and you could hear it in the whispers of the crowd, see it in the way Vivian lined up her shots, the slightest tremble in her hands betraying her nerves. The setting couldn't have been more perfect for such a high-stakes match. Las Vegas, Nevada, the city of lights and luck, was the backdrop for this thrilling encounter. In 2018, this was the place where legends were either born or broken, and everyone in the room knew they were about to witness one of those moments that would be talked about for years to come.
At the 6 ball to throw off the 9 ball into the corner pocket.
The players were ready, and so were we. The opening moves were crucial. They set the tone for everything that followed. Vivian Villar, the American player, won the lag and got to break the first rack of the game. You could sense the focus in the room as she lined up her shot. The crack of the cue ball against the racked balls echoed, signaling the start of a battle that would test both players' skills to the limit. Vivian's opening move was a push-out, a clever strategy where she pocketed the 9 ball near the corner pocket. This wasn't just any shot, it was a tactical decision designed to prevent Efren Reyes from attempting a combination shot on the 9 ball. It was a move that showed she wasn't here to make it easy for him, but if there's one thing we know about Efren, it's that he thrives on challenges. The strategy behind Vivian's move was brilliant. By placing the 9 ball in a difficult position, she forced Efren to think several steps ahead. But that's exactly what he does best. Efren Reyes, known as the Magician for a reason, stepped up and executed a strong defensive shot. The way he handled his cue was mesmerizing, almost like watching an artist at work. His shot forced Vivian to attempt a jump shot, but the pressure was too much. She fouled, and this gave Efren ball in hand, a pivotal moment in the match. Now, with the ball in his control, Efren began to showcase why he's considered one of the greatest players of all time. What's remarkable about Efren is that he's 64 years old during this match. You might think that age would slow him down, but not Efren. Despite his years, he played with a precision and control that's unmatched. His cue ball control especially was a thing of beauty. Every shot was calculated, every movement deliberate. It was as if the cue ball was an extension of his hand, moving exactly where he wanted it to go. You couldn't help but be in awe of his skill and the way he commanded the table. As we moved to the second rack, the tension was still palpable. Efren might have a potential combination on the 9, and you could almost hear the collective breath-holding in the audience. With each rack, the pressure mounted, but Efren remained calm and collected. By the time we reached the fourth rack, Efren was leading 3 racks to 0. The score reflected his dominance, but it wasn't just about the numbers. It was about the way he was playing. Cool, calculated, and utterly in control. Vivian Villar, on the other hand, was feeling the pressure. She knew she was up against one of the greatest players to ever hold a cue, and that knowledge weighed heavily on her. Vivian wasn't just playing to win, she was playing to prove herself, to show that she could hold her own against a legend. But as the match progressed, it became clear that this was Efren's game to lose. The stakes got higher with each shot, and then it happened. A moment that changed the entire flow of the game. Vivian, who had been holding her own against the legendary Efren Reyes, attempted a 2-rail kick shot. It was a bold move, one that could have turned the tide in her favor, but she missed the 2-ball completely. You could feel the collective gasp from the audience as the ball rolled harmlessly across the table. This wasn't just a simple mistake. It was a critical error that left the door wide open for Efren. And when you give someone like Efren Reyes an opening, you're practically handing him the game. The consequences of Vivian's miss were immediate. Efren was rewarded with ball in hand, a golden opportunity that he wasn't going to waste. Now, with the table at his mercy, Efren took over the rack methodically and effortlessly. It was in moments like these that you truly see why Efren Reyes is revered as one of the greatest 9-ball players of all time. His ability to capitalize on the smallest of mistakes is what sets him apart, and this was no exception. There's no denying it. Efren Reyes is an exceptional 9-ball player. By this point in his career, he had already secured over 40 major titles in 9-ball pool, a testament to his dominance in the sport. Watching him play, you couldn't help but be in awe of his skill, his precision, and his unshakable focus. Even when he attempted an improvised stroke to reach the 9-ball, you could see the gears turning in his mind, calculating every angle, every possible outcome. This time, things didn't go as planned. It was a rare moment of vulnerability, reminding us that even legends aren't infallible. But don't get too comfortable. Efren's misses are few and far between, and you know he's already planning his next move. As we moved into the 5th rack, the scoreboard told a clear story. Efren led 3-1. But if you think that meant he was relaxing, you'd be wrong. Every shot still mattered, and the tension was far from over. In this rack, Efren attempted a bank shot on the 1-ball, but it didn't go as planned. He missed, but in classic Efren fashion, he didn't leave his opponent with an easy shot. It was a defensive strategy that showed his deep understanding of the game. If he couldn't score, he'd make sure his opponent couldn't either. Then came one of those magical moments that only Efren Reyes can produce. The magician was aiming for a 1-9 combination shot, but there was a problem. The 7-ball was slightly in the way. For most players, this would be a deal breaker, but not for Efren. With the crowd holding their breath, he made his move, and what an incredible shot it was. Somehow, he managed to pocket the 9-ball in the opposite corner pocket, a shot that defied logic and left everyone in awe. It's the kind of play that cements his status as a legend of the game, a reminder that when it comes to pool, there's no one quite like Efren Reyes. But as the match progressed, it wasn't all smooth sailing. We moved into rack number 6, and this time Efren scratched. It was a setback, a moment where the tides could have turned in favor of Vivian Villar. Vivian, popularly known as the Texas Tornado, wasn't someone to be underestimated. Her reputation for a rapid and demonstrative style of play had earned her respect in the pool community, and now was her chance to mount a comeback. Yet, despite the setback, Efren continued to dominate. The intensity of the match was palpable, with every shot adding to the drama. By the time we reached rack number 6, Efren was still in the lead, 6-2. He wasn't just playing to win, he was playing to maintain his lead, to keep the pressure on his opponent. With calm precision, he made a really nice defensive shot on the 1 ball, further solidifying his control over the match. As the match entered its final stretch, the tension in the room reached a fever pitch. Vivian Villar, determined to claw her way back, went for a 1-rail kick shot, a risky move that could have turned the game in her favor. But this was the exact moment where everything went wrong. She missed the mark, and just like that, the momentum shifted once again. Efren Reyes, ever the opportunist, stepped up to the table with ball in hand. This was his chance to further extend his lead, and you could almost feel the weight of the moment pressing down on the room. Efren wasn't just playing pool, he was crafting a masterpiece. With the table now his to command, we continued to watch as the magician worked his magic, navigating the complexities of the rack with a calm, almost serene focus. This wasn't just a game anymore, it was a performance, and Efren was the star, holding everyone's attention as he meticulously ran the rack. But then came a critical moment, a twist in the narrative that threatened to derail Efren's progress. The real problem in this rack was the 8 ball. It was positioned in such a way that getting to it would require not just skill, but ingenuity. The audience held their breath, knowing that even for someone as skilled as Efren, this was no easy task. But if there's one thing we've learned from watching him, it's that Efren Reyes thrives under pressure. With calculated precision, Efren executed his next move. He left just the right angle on the 7 ball, setting himself up to break off the 8 ball from the 9. It was a risky maneuver, the kind that could either secure his victory or leave him vulnerable. But when the cue ball struck, you could see the magic in play. What an amazing shot it was! The 8 ball broke free and the path to the 9 ball became clear. Efren had done it again, showcasing not just his skill but his ability to think several steps ahead, solving problems that would stump lesser players. The crowd erupted in applause, a mix of awe and admiration. This was Efren Reyes at his finest, turning what could have been a stumbling block into a stepping stone towards victory. As the match drew closer to its conclusion, it was clear that we were witnessing something special, a masterclass in pool delivered by one of the greatest players the world has ever seen. So, what are your thoughts on this game? Let us know in the comments below.